Hello and welcome to the Aaron Russos podcast. Today's podcast is about having to forgive someone that you will never get an apology from, whether you never see them again, whether they've passed away, or even that you don't want to make contact with someone. Either way, it doesn't really matter what the reason is. There are just some people, if you're a narcissist, the biggest downfall of narcissism is that you can't see your own faults. And one of the easiest way there are different questions that you can ask a narcissist out of just genuine curiosity and notice, and they cannot reply in a normal way. And one of those is you say, what is it you think you could improve about yourself? And they'll be a little bit shocked because they think they're perfect. They don't think there's anything to work on. A lot of narcissists will use you, draw you back in, and it's a loop, right? They love bomb you, and then they slowly wear down your lots of things really, but essentially they can't ever admit what they're doing, and they'll actually lash out and get quite violent, rather than, or even do something really bad rather than admit that they were wrong. And in those instances, it's not actually safe to go and confront a narcissist, because it's you can't win. And sometimes in life, I know it can be frustrating, but sometimes we need to forgive other people that we're not going to get an apology for. Now, there's lots of different instances, and it happens a lot and more than what you think. And it happens nearly with everyone, really. And I've had lots of people, and especially with family, dysfunctional families, some of the people that you even have to forgive sometimes don't actually, they're sort of products of their environment, products of what happened to them, products of their trauma. And sometimes it's not, it's not as easy as just an apology. But I guess what you realize once you start turning the focus inwards on yourself, or through the process you start looking at other people. I learned this skill from different books and people online who said, and I just went, oh wow, that's a big statement. Because when we get frustrated, and if we're stubborn, and there's other things that may be going on in our lives, these people can make us very angry. And angry is not a very pretty energy. It doesn't matter even if you're right. It doesn't matter if you're 100% right. That angry energy is something that someone will, whether they know you or not, will not want to be around it. It's not something that it's not an attracting energy. It's a repelling energy. And it's something, and all these people were like, no, I'm going to forgive them, not for them, but for me, so that I don't have to live with this pain, this anguish, this frustration, this anger. It's very, it's not a great life walking around every day holding on to this anger and frustration from someone that's wronged you. And as I said, some people are more stubborn than others, and stubborn, that's not a bad thing. It's it's basically you can be stubborn with good things as well, and be relentless and really determined, and all these things. Now, most characteristics are great. on a balanced level. Some can be taken to the extreme, can be perverted, some can be the opposite. And I guess the thing that I really loved about this was I had a lot of people that not only, not just families and dysfunctional families members, but also people in the workplace or people that had wronged me in jobs that were my dream jobs. So I finally make it to a job that I never thought I would have in my lifetime, a dream job. And then only to have a manager who was manipulative, lying. In the end, I found out that this manager was actually embezzling money, lots of money, stealing money from a place that gets audited by the government every year by a third party to make sure that there is no corruption. And because they made my life quite difficult, I felt I wanted to kill them. I was trying to be nice about all this stuff. I couldn't go to sleep. The cortisol chemical it releases when you're angry and stuff was out of control. I would be awake some nights all night. I was thinking about training to be a sniper, going to gun ranges, absolutely, just beating the absolute crap out of them. But I wouldn't stop. The amount of anger and frustration that I had for this person was just really unhealthy. And at the time, I didn't understand that what it was actually doing to me and how it was affecting me. Because obviously, if the law of attraction is like attracts like, then I am just totally not attracting anything good into my life in this stage as well. And so it created other problems in other parts of my life. You couple that with your family wronging, or and sometimes you think they're wrong, or it doesn't really matter. That's not important. And like everything that I'm sharing with you, you're not going to like the answer, or you're not going to like the way to do it, because it's not just clicking your fingers. You've got to work at something. You've got to, it's like training a muscle again, training for a new skill. You need to, in the same way as you transmute a fear, insecurities, wounds, and traumas by sitting in the pain, is the same way that you forgive someone that you're never going to get an apology from, and that you need to forgive for you, not for them. And so what happens is you need to spend copious amounts of time with the situation, with you and them, and I mean just them, the thought of them, the recollection of all the times and things that they've done and history that you've had together and the rest of it. And so you need to start getting and sitting in that terrible pain for as long as you can. And you think about the history of this person, and you really, the more you think about them, the more you understand about them, the situation, and that they haven't got a great life as well. And so I learned this skill from a few people online and from watching YouTube videos and such. And YouTube was owned by someone different at this stage. So a lot of the information, some of the stuff and all the links that I had, some of the videos have disappeared. So we have, so you're sitting there and you're going, oh, okay, and you have to spend a lot of time in that understanding, in that pain. And you're thinking about them, what could have brought them to that, why would they get to that stage, and in the end, it takes a lot longer than what I'm talking about. In the end, you actually start feeling sorry for them. And you go, well, it's actually, I've got a good life after all. I don't have to be them. I don't have to do that. They've had a lot of terrible things happen to them, the environment has made them what they are. People around them has made them. Terrible things that have happened and traumas, and especially for the last few generations, traumas were not something that they would go and seek help for. So therefore, they were stuck with these things that made them bitter, made them do things that they probably wouldn't do in this day and age, because we are a little bit more open with our feelings. We're a little bit more understanding, and so you go down this whole myriad of things that bring you to a new level of understanding on the subject. I also read about a lady who lost. She wrote a book. She lost her son during 9/11. He was in the building, and she did a very similar thing, but she also added the swipe left to it. And so she was like, well, these people, they might have recruited a pilot and threatened their families. Their families might have been at knife point, and they didn't want to do this. And she went through all the things. And when she would get out of control, angry, frustrated with, like I said, cortisol, not being able to sleep, no peace, and then not attracting anything decent into her life, she developed a new skill where she wanted to sit in the pain and get through this situation, but then moving forward, she had to go back and forth, and she still couldn't get it out of her head, and it was really affecting her own life, right? As it did mine, or different things did as well. And so what she did was she thought, well, she hates dishonesty and people, abusing children and things like that. So what she would do was, whenever this thought popped into her head again, to get rid of it faster so that she didn't get stuck for weeks, she got into moods for weeks on end, and then she'd flip back for a little bit, and then she'd go back. So when it popped into her head, she pretended it was like on a Tinder or an app or on her phone, and she swiped left. She first associated it with a terrible thing that she hates, okay? And that's different for every person. I use this technique as well for that boss person that really messed me up. Did some terrible things, not only to me, but the organisation and other people. Now, it's not dismissing it. It's not saying it didn't happen. It's something to do for yourself. You're still going to sit in the pain of it and process it and get to a deeper understanding, and then you are going to forgive them eventually. Okay? But you need a 2, 3, 4-pronged attack to get out of these states, because they're not healthy. And this person is walking around smiling, probably doing what they've been doing to you, to other people, while you are in turmoil. It's not fair. And so we forgive for us, okay? It's not forgetting what they've done. It's saying, do you know what? I can't live like this. I can't live in this terrible energy and this anger. It's not nice. You don't feel good. It doesn't vibrate in a nice way. And so you have to go back. And sometimes, I would say, okay, I'm ready to forgive. And I'm like, okay, such and such, and there's a bit of a ceremony, attached, not ceremony, but you have to have points where you can, say, all right, I'm in a position to say that I've got a better life than you. I've got better prospects. I'm a better person. And it wouldn't be nice to be you. And regardless of, how many people have, done you over, I'm not going to be an angry person because of all of that sort of stuff. I think my family deserve better. I deserve better. For myself, I need to, and it's about self-love and worth and worthiness. And and so I say, well, I'm going to forgive you now, but for me, this is, and so then you might go back to life. There might be a few times during the day, or things where it pops in your head, and that association with that angry part of it again, and you'll swipe left. You'll think something bad, swipe left. And if that happens too much, you might want to go back. You might want to, I did it walking on a beach. Okay, laps of a beach. This is how I diffused most and forgave those who I was never going to get an apology from, and those people who had wronged me. And it was a very important phase in my life. As I've told you, I've had many different seasons over the last 7 years leading to, all this transmuting, all this pain gone, all this, just a beautiful life that I have now that is just full of compassion, kindness and joy and fun. It's really fun to be alive on a daily basis. I laugh about the littlest things, and it's a proper laugh. It's genuine because of some of the things. So it's just similar to when you're transmuting. And I've said in the other video with the transmuting video podcast, there's plenty of places you can go and train and learn to do this. The same sort of principles apply to forgiving those that you're not going to get an apology from. And you get out of that state, the anger doesn't come around anymore. There's a little to and fro just to make sure the remnants, there's a little bit of residue left over, you get rid of it. and at the time it was going on for months, and some of the things for years with some people. Now it's a distant memory. Now it's all behind me, and I'm able to talk to you about how you can free yourself, because it's freedom. Freedom is so important in all, in everyone, in each and every one of us. But to be trapped by that, you got to do it for yourself, not for any other reason. You're not letting them get away with it. You're not saying that that I'm doing this to move on from it. There's no part of that says that that's okay what they did. You were doing this for yourself because you deserve it. And through the whole time that this was going on, and the amount of stubbornness and all the rest of it, it's because you're in pain. It's because you were hurt, and it's usually a very personal hurt. If you don't know someone and they hurt you, or you don't know them well, whatever, it doesn't cut very deep. But when someone goes out of their way to personally hurt you, and it could have been someone that you loved, then it hurts a lot more. And that's when these deeper levels of hurt, but also the stubbornness and the anger. As I said, I was totally wanting to take this guy out. Now, then then other people that have wronged you, direct family members and things like that. Obviously, I don't want to go and well, maybe I do actually. Maybe I did. Sorry, but same process. I mean, at least with them, you understand them a little bit better because you know their whole history, and you know how they could have got like this, and you know how you could have been fooled by them because, as with family and as with dysfunctional family and as with abusive family, we tend to give them more chances. I thought that some of these people were my heroes when I was younger, to realize 30 years later that they are terrible people. Like, how did I not see that? How did I, and there's a lot of that in there as well. It's like, how did this go on for so long, and how did I not see it? What did I have on? What sort of goggles was I wearing, and all this sort of stuff? So there's also a lot of information out there. As I said, I learnt from, some videos and some books and some things and a bit of research. As I have with everything, I've mentioned many a time that I've probably spent $1 on my whole journey to get where I am today. And I don't want you to think that, you've got to spend a lot of money to grow as a person, or to heal on many levels, or to, get back to being the best version of yourself. And also some of the things with the spiritual side of things, you can't outsource it anyway. You can't outsource your own spirituality. So, I hope that helped. And I hope that if you are, having these struggles with people that you're never going to get an apology from, people that have ghosted you and never, ever contacted you, never going to get an answer from them, never going to have, it's a little bit like, the relationship or died and there is no, what would you call it? Resolution? No closure. That's it. No closure. And you can imagine, like, people that lose loved ones without closure, how painful that must be to not understand how it got to that, and whether you could have been part of changing that, or whether, and you take a lot of stuff on, once again, yourself. You're having to go at yourself. You're looking at you, and, and I would assume, and I, absolutely would never ever could even find myself in that situation. I never have, but I just, completely and utterly empathize with anyone that has been in that situation. But I would maybe see that this would be a similar thing to be able to sort of come and forgive and heal for your sake. Because we can be our worst critics. The mind can go in 1,000 directions at once in situations like that. So there will be other people that have gone before and dealt with things like that and healed from it, and that's where we go and get. They're our resources. That's where we go and get the knowledge how, because I've said in so many podcasts, the only reason we don't do something is because we don't know how, but someone always has. And it doesn't matter how far full on it is, or what you think, there is someone that has gone and done it before. So we've got that to draw upon as human beings. And it's a beautiful thing. There's 8 billion of us here. So I hope this podcast helps you understand a little bit about that. And if there's any other topics, go to aaronroussos.org or Google my name. Check out my website, and there's a form on there you can fill out to request for different topics. Some of the topics in the podcast have been from those contact forms on my website. The people asked to stay anonymous, which is fine. Other people have given me, full understanding of why they want to know that, and I try and include that in the podcast. Anyway, thanks for listening once again. Appreciate everything.